Ethiopian Air Force jets screamed across Addis Ababa skies. Turkish-made Bayraktar drones, Russian Orion-E drones on display. And next week, Israel's president arrives with his own offer. This isn't coincidence. This is a bidding war. Monday, February 17th, Turkish President Erdogan landed in Addis Ababa. One day, high-stakes meetings, a clear message: stay away from Israel's Somaliland plan. Next week, Israeli President Isaac Herzog arrives. Another one-day visit. Another message: we already recognize Somaliland. The door is open. Two presidents, 1 week. Both want the same thing: Ethiopia's loyalty. This is HornAfrica Insight. Here's why Ethiopia just became the most valuable prize in the Horn of Africa and why Turkey, Israel, and Russia are fighting for it. Ethiopia has over 130 million people, and most of them are young. Median age, 19. This isn't just population. This is demographic momentum. A workforce that hasn't peaked. A consumer market expanding. Ethiopia's economy is opening. Safaricom entered and is competing with state-owned Ethio Telecom. Banking reform underway. Ethiopia built the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, Africa's largest, largely from its own resources. Not Chinese loans, not Western aid. Ethiopian financing. Ethiopia is one of the world's oldest civilizations. 3,000 years of continuous statehood. This isn't a new country. This is an ancient power reasserting itself. And geography? Landlocked since 1993, Ethiopia sits at the crossroads of the Red Sea, the Nile Basin, and Sudan's collapse. Every major power projecting influence in the Horn must account for Ethiopia. When Ethiopia moves, the region recalculates. When powers move toward Ethiopia, the competition begins. This week, the competition went into overdrive. Turkey is Ethiopia's second largest foreign investor, $2.5 billion deployed in energy, manufacturing, construction. Turkey supplies the Bayraktar TB2 drones Ethiopia used extensively in Tigray and border operations. Combat-proven systems Ethiopia depends on. Turkey brokered the 2024 Ankara Declaration that prevented Ethiopia-Somalia war. Turkey has Egypt and Saudi Arabia aligned on Somalia's territorial integrity, regional backing Ethiopia needs. When Erdogan arrived February 17th, his first visit in over a decade, he wasn't just celebrating 100 years of ties. He was reminding Ethiopia, we have skin in your game. At the joint press conference, Erdogan made his position unmistakable. Israel's recognition of Somaliland benefits neither Somalia nor the Horn. The region's problems should be resolved by the region itself. The subtext: we invested $2.5 billion. We armed you. Don't betray us by pursuing Israel's Somaliland plan. Between January 23rd to 27th, 2026, weeks before Erdogan's visit, Ethiopia held its 90th Air Force anniversary celebration. Russian military hardware dominated. Fighters, helicopters, advanced systems, and the reveal: Ethiopia became the first country to acquire Russia's Orion-E drone, a medium-altitude, long-endurance combat platform. This is Russia's answer to Turkey's Bayraktar. Extended missions, intelligence, strikes. The timing? Strategic signaling weeks before Erdogan arrived. The message to Ankara: your drones are valuable, but not irreplaceable. Ethiopia learned from 33 years landlocked. Never depend on one power's goodwill. Diversify investors. Diversify weapons. Diversify allies. In 1984, Operation Moses airlifted over 8,000 Ethiopian Jews. In 1991, Operation Solomon evacuated nearly 15,000 in 36 hours. Today, over 160,000 Israelis trace routes to Ethiopia. Living connection. Israel supported Ethiopia's Renaissance Dam, technical expertise, water management systems. Israel and Ethiopia cooperated on defense for decades, training, intelligence, counterterrorism. Much classified, but deep. And crucially, Israel already recognized Somaliland. December 26, 2025. First UN member state to do so. Strategic positioning, offering Ethiopia a pathway to Berbera port. Turkey opposed. Egypt condemned. Saudi rejected. Israel did it anyway. Next week, Israel's president makes the case in person. Israeli President Isaac Herzog arrives next week. One-day visit. Official line, expanding Africa ties. But the timing tells a different story. Erdogan leaves Monday. Herzog arrives days later. Israel's offer: advanced cybersecurity, precision weapons beyond Bayraktars, agricultural and water technology, desert farming expertise, and most importantly, Somaliland already recognized. Pathway to Berbera established. Herzog's visit is Turkey's nightmare realized. Israel offering military alternatives, economic benefits, and what Ethiopia sought 33 years, access to the sea. But that forces a choice. From Turkey, $2.5 billion invested, proven drones, regional backing, but demands stay away from Somaliland. From Israel, advanced tech, Somaliland recognized, no regional approval needed. But controversial, risks alienating Turkey, Egypt, Saudi. A B's strategy? Don't choose. During Erdogan's visit, Bay emphasized escaping being a geographic prisoner, 130 million landlocked, but didn't mention Somaliland once. Strategic silence. Ethiopia wants what everyone offers. Ethiopia learned dependence creates vulnerability. Turkish drones today. Russian Orion-E acquired. Israeli tech next week. The 90th Air Force Day wasn't rejecting Turkey, it was reminding. We have options. Herzog's visit isn't rejection either. It's another reminder. We're not owned. Egypt deployed 10,000 troops to Somalia, countering Ethiopian influence. Egypt backs Somalia's integrity. Egypt fears Ethiopian Grand Renaissance Dam. If Ethiopia pursues Israel's Somaliland route, Egypt interprets this as choosing Israeli-UAE alignment. Saudi Arabia watching. Foreign Minister visited Addis February 11th. Deputy Foreign Minister to Eritrea next day. Deliberate positioning, engaging Ethiopia and Eritrea, two countries with war history. Eritrea remains wildcard. Controls ports Ethiopia once used, Massawa, Assab. Sudan's ambassador to Eritrea released a letter. Sudanese-Eritrean relations, firm partnership beyond geography. Positioning Eritrea as Sudan's reliable partner. Eritrea's Isaias recently drove Asmara to Sudan. Rare public visit signaling commitment. And Somaliland? Condemned Erdogan's remarks as unacceptable interference. Turkey, Israel, Russia, Egypt, Saudi, Eritrea, Somalia, Somaliland, all positioning around Ethiopia. Herzog's visit doesn't guarantee contracts. State visits produce photo ops, not immediate deals. Russia's Orion-E doesn't mean abandoning Turkish Bayraktars. Both coexist. Diversification takes years. Israel's Somaliland recognition doesn't automatically give full access. But Ethiopia already uses Berbera commercially. Not Djibouti level, but Ethiopian goods flow through Berbera. Infrastructure exists, DP World operates, Ethiopian trucks cross, but Ethiopia lacks sovereign port access, military use, large-scale shipping without Somaliland's permission. Israel's recognition? Door cracked, not open. Walking through requires choosing sides, but perception matters. Turkey knows it lacks exclusive leverage. Ethiopia has multiple suitors. Regional powers know Ethiopia isn't choosing quickly. The bidding war is real. Prize unclaimed. Erdogan came with $2.5 billion leverage. Bayraktar drones. Clear warning. Stay away from Israel's Somaliland plan. Herzog coming with tech, intelligence, door open. Somaliland recognized. Berbera accessible. Russia showed up with Orion-E and interest. Ethiopia's response? Listening, taking meetings, not deciding yet. For 33 years, landlocked. For 33 years, paying billions to Djibouti. For 33 years, depending on others. Ethiopia learned dependence is vulnerability. So when Turkey invests $2.5 billion and supplies drones, Ethiopia says thank you and acquires Russian Orion-E. When Israel recognizes Somaliland and sends its president, Ethiopia says thank you. Doesn't mention Somaliland during Erdogan's visit. The question isn't whether Ethiopia chooses Turkey, Israel, or Russia. The question is whether any can afford to let Ethiopia choose someone else. Because in the Horn, losing Ethiopia means losing the region. This week proved the battle for Ethiopia is just beginning. This is HornAfrica Insight, where the Horn's quiet moves speak the loudest.